Welcome back to Boring Reviews.
Boring land.
Oh, just kidding.
Blasphemer! Hello,
right.
Boring Review Nation!
Kind of pointless.
We know all things.
All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here.
Bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum. Bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Bum ba-dum bum bum. I'm telling you, bro. Woo! That's my new favorite theme song, bro. Oh man, Mirzapur. Woo! Gabe. Guytone Day still. Guytone Day.
Ooh, he went back.
Guytone Day's back. I switch, man. I jump back and forth. I go from Guytone Day to Chapati. You go, you know what I mean? Back and forth.
You gotta do it sometimes. We are looking at episode 6 today. We're gonna be talking all about it. It's all spoilers if you haven't realized that yet. Thanks so much for joining this journey with us. This takes me back to when we were doing the season 1. That time we were next to each other. Now we're separated by streaming and whatnot, but that's okay. We're gonna jump right into this episode. This episode was a lot of fun for me. I trashed in a little way here and there the writing for episode 5. I really enjoyed the writing for episode 6. I only had one issue this entire episode, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Gabe, this was a lot of fun. We start off right off the bat. I mean, I'm sitting here watching it. I usually watch it on my own, so in case kids or my wife comes in. Jody doesn't like that kind of stuff. But I was watching it in me and Jody's room. She was getting ready for bed, and she was like brushing her teeth and doing stuff in the bathroom. I start watching it. And I'm like, oh, man, this episode starts right off the jump. In the trailer, I saw Gudu and Golu coming out with him on his cane and the building going on fire. And I was just like, oh, I can't wait to see that. We get that right off the bat in this episode. And I love the way they set it up. The guy's buying some guns. And what does he ask the guy? He's like, this thing isn't going to explode in my hands, is it? Oh, no, definitely not. This is not going to happen. That was the old stuff. This is new crop. Completely reliable. All right, great. Go take it over there. They start shooting guns. He's like, hey, don't waste the bullets. We don't want to waste those. But we come to find out Golu and Gudu, they're storming the castle. And they're coming. And what is Golu doing? Your favorite thing. One-handed. Boom, 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 boom. She's gotten pretty good with that. She's been shooting at the wind a few times. She was shooting at trees. And now she's an expert marksmanship, right? Now, I know she's been training for a few months. And, who knows. But anyways, they go in, they storm the castle, they take everyone out, just the two of them. I mean, he's got a cane and he's doing it for crying out loud. Right. Super, super slick. And then you have this final scene before the yeah, that final scene. Game, what's that final scene where it's just like, oh, I love Mirzapur?
I'm not sure what scene you're talking about, but here's the foreshadowing that happened, right? That whole thing happens, right? They shoot everybody up into place or whatnot. Now, here's the thing. They've got real guns while the other people got these little burner guns or whatever, and they're popping people, whatever. It was impressive, though, that she was shooting pop, 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 drop the clip.
And she was practicing. We were seeing that, yep.
Oh, okay, she's making it happen. And all of a sudden, they're stopped, like, observing the field, and the guy has the drop on them. And he's looking out the window, pulls out the gun, and he's about to pop him, and bang! His hand blows up, bro. The gun blows up. And he's like, oh, and I'm like,
I was literally laughing out loud. We say it all the time in text messages, don't mean it, but I was literally laughing out loud. It was hilarious.
And it goes back to when Babalu and Gudu were running the business, they were getting good quality, right? Here,
they went after that guy who was in charge of that garbage.
Exactly. Here, no good quality, guns that don't work. You could have even defended yourself and lived possibly, but no, because you had this crappy gun, because they're putting out crappy products once again, it'll end up costing your life. So then the next scene you see is Godu standing over I thought he was like standing over him to shoot the dude, but no, what he does is that he shoots the ground, and they have like set up this trail, this fire, which, by the way, in real life, that doesn't happen, all right? Let me tell you something. If you're going to blow something up, it's going to be an accelerant. You're going to just go ahead. Okay, not that I've ever done it myself, all right?
No, it kind of bugged me, too, because they see that all the time. It's like, there's no way. There's no way.
Nobody's taking the time to lay out gunpowder or lay out, what do you call it? Whatever accelerant it is, shoot in the spark. That's not going to happen, all right? That's not gonna happen. I watch way too much. What's that called? Unsolved Mysteries and CSI Crimes. The real one, not that CSI Miami with the good looking. You notice how all those cops are good looking? I know a lot of cops. they're not all good looking. Just saying, okay?
Drive
Just
by.
saying. You ever notice how all those cops are pretty on TV? Stop it. Stop it.
That's why we tune in, my friend.
But that kind of bothered me. But I think that right after that happened, and I'll give it to you, that's probably where that first misstep we discussed happened. Nick, what was it?
Guys, it was deplorable, and you guys all know what I'm talking about. There's no way you don't. The special effects for the fire, right? The special, and maybe in Hollywood, Michael Bay, we perfected the explosions, right? But I have seen some amazing explosions in Bollywood films and Indian films.
Absolutely.
This was the most atrocious special effects when it blows up that warehouse. And this is the scene I was looking forward to so much from the trailer. It looked, and my best analogy is if you played Doom in the 90s, it's that kind of graphics, right? And not that Doom had a lot of explosions, but it was really poor quality. I literally think they had no money left in the budget and they had to do this scene. It seemed like they put more money into the trailer fire and it still looked kind of weak than this one. This was absolutely horrible. It was my biggest problem with the episode, and it's a special effects thing, but it takes you out of the show when you see something that cartoonish and that fake looking. That's all. My biggest complaint was that, and my other small complaint, and I love this scene. It was a boss scene. My other small complaint was Golu and Guru. In 4 months, they can't. I know Babar is, we'll get to him later, but they can't get anyone to help them out when they're going to storm the castle. They can't get any kind of cover. They can't get any kind of help. The two of them are just going to go in there, and they're going to be the only ones that can shoot right. The other guys can't. I know they had those burners or whatever, but not all of them had their hands exploding. I mean, a little unbelievable, but it was a fantastic scene. Nonetheless, the fire killed it, but I love the pose outside where they're looking at each other. They're saying, let's go get this. Overall, I liked it, but the fire took me out.
You know what I felt like? And I don't know, maybe I felt like this was a COVID production. So I'm thinking maybe it was usually for an explosion like that, you would use some CGI, but practical effects. But you could tell it was all CGI. You know what I mean? So maybe it's one of those things where we can't do practical effects because of COVID. I don't know. But yeah, immediately you said it and I picked it up right around like, wow, this scene looks weird. You know what I mean? It was shot weird. You expect more out of Mirzapur, but basically. But with that being said, we move into the episode and right away you find out Colleen's a boss as usual because he gets into this factory. It's been blown up. And right away, for once, Muna uses his head. He's like, this is Godu. Who else will come after us? This got to be Godu. And he's like, nah, this comes from the inside. And technically, they're both right because he's like, how did, somebody that knew we were going to be out of town, somebody's trying to hurt us from inside. And I guess they're both right, but they can't put two and two together. Why couldn't it be Godu working with somebody from the inside? But, Colleen does not respect Muna, and vice versa. Muna does not respect Colleen. They don't listen to each other. They got that father-son dynamic.
Yeah.
And if they would just stop for 2 seconds and put two and two together, they would say, yes, it's probably Godu. Who else has the cojones to come in here and do this? But he's got to be working with somebody. But they can't put two and two together. But he uses this is his boss move, and he's like, you know what? He calls the chief minister up, and he says, yeah, we had some losses and explosion, but my loss could be your gain because you can use this to show that you're cracking down on crime. Like, you know what? The way this guy's mind thinks is a beautiful thing, and he is still one of my favorite characters on the show, even though I think that you're starting to see some of the chinks in the armor, even for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing. Maybe he doesn't know this, but something that was bothering me, just maybe I know too much about this. But once you get to the point where you have to go get special pills, you're probably not shooting, you're shooting blanks, cousin. That's just real, all right? Low T comes along with that. He didn't for one think like, you know what? She got pregnant, but I'm having trouble like as a man. Like, you know what I mean? He hasn't even
ego, man. It's that male ego. It's like the whole thing. Like when you start going bald, like, no, I'm not going bald. Like my hair is just getting lighter or something like that. Like you're just trying to find any excuse. And remember, he never got the proof that, yes, you're not this or that. He thinks his issue is a performance issue, not so much a blanks issue. That's just my opinion. And you remember, you got Baoji, you got the grandpa constantly, the Chapati seed is untarnished. I mean, you got this guy feeding that to your entire life. I did like in this episode, you mentioned Colleen being a boss. I like the decisions that the writers had for him because it showed that this guy still has it. I was trashing him in our last review saying, like, this guy doesn't know anything that's going on. He knows a whole lot that's going on. He got very, very political. He sees why this election being so important is so important to him. He knows what it's like being underneath Yadav's thumb and dealing with that joker. He wants to have complete anonymity, whatever that phrase is, where he's got control of himself. So he's given everything to this election. And he's not overreacting. He's not going crazy. Maybe he does need to overreact because Gudu and Go is making him look like a moron right now. But I did like some of the boss moves that he made. We get near the beginning, and I might be jumping up, but it's not really too important sequential. We get near the beginning where he goes up to Makpul and he says, hey, did you take care of Babar? Oh, yeah, I took care of Babar. All right, excellent, very good. And he trusts him and he walks away. And we find out, so getting to the family issue, we got Bina, right? And she's doing this whole thing with Golu and Gudu. And she's on the phone with Golu, and Golu's like, we can't find Babar. We need to, okay, don't worry about it. And then Colleen walks in and she pretends to her auntie, oh, hey, how you doing? Got to go. And he's talking to her. I think there's someone on the inside. Oh, how can that be possible? You know everything. Everyone loves you. Everyone would die for you. There's no way anybody would do that to you. You know, should I get you set up for your trip? You got to freshen up, blah, blah, blah. She helps Golu and Gudu know where Babar is. She sends Butler Boy over there, right, to break in, get Babar out. We find out that he is alive. Yeah. I don't know what Makpul's thing is. Maybe Makpul's thing is I can't kill my own nephew, but it doesn't mean I have to feed him. Doesn't mean I have to let him have some water. If he just dies on his own because he's not smart enough to get out, then that's his. I don't know what his thing is. Maybe it was a punishment. I'm going to put you near starvation, and I'm going to bring you back to life, and I'm going to nurse you as a sick puppy, and then you're going to be loyal to me. I have no idea what his game plan was, but he gets out. And where do we see Babar later on in the episode? Right by Gudu's side. I absolutely loved it. And one cool fact, Gabe, we have one of the viewers that watched our review. He said that he knows the actor that played Babar from school. Like he was in his high school or whatever. He was in his class, and he had no idea this guy was going to be on this show or whatever, which I think is really cool. But what's your take on the whole Babar thing, the Bina thing? I kind of merged a few things there.
You know what? First and foremost, I think Bina is turning out to be a lot smarter than since season one. You know what I mean? And some of the moves you see her making, she's setting things up where, and you even saw that when she started, oh, this is your child to, you're the first one I told, to Colleen, and then to the grandfather, and then to Butler Boy, as we call him. You know what I mean? So she's really manipulating everyone, and I'm enjoying that. You're right. Sometime has jumped. You're right about that, because you can see she's full blown pregnant now or whatever. So there has been some time, which explains why Golu has gotten better with the gun or whatnot. If she's practicing every day, obviously she's going to get a lot better. So there has been a little bit of a time lapse there. But as far as that specific scene you're talking about, I just don't think Makpul had the heart to kill him, to be honest, especially when his mom grabs his hand and does it. And because you saw there was like a little bucket there. So, I think he's still giving him food and giving him water, but he's just holding them captive. And I think that in his mind, once eventually Godu is dead, then Babar has no reason to be loyal to Godu, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But it's his nephew. I just don't think he has the heart to kill him.
I was hoping he wouldn't. And maybe that's why he tells his mom, I got to take care of Babar. He messed up. Because he's kind of hoping, sometimes you're just looking for help. You're asking for it without asking for it. And maybe he knew his mom wasn't going to be cool with that. Maybe his mom's a boss in her own right, but she's not going to let him take out family. I mean, I sure hope so. I hope he's not. I don't see Makpul being that ruthless.
I do like the one little touching scene though. He Butler Boy breaks him out, and he could have just bounced, but he stops and he says goodbye, grandmother, gives her a kiss, because he knows he's alive because of grandmother. Because if it wasn't for grandmother, he'd be dead. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was that.
Well, not just that, but remember when they had the showdown, he was the first person to put his gun down. He's like, you told me to be loyal. I'm not going to take you out. He's He's a good guy. Babar's a good, loyal guy.
He's a loyal guy. Exactly, man. I really like his character. Something else I wanted to jump on was Colleen using his head. Not only did he use his head politically, where, okay, my factory blew up with all our guns, we're hurting, what could we do? So he goes to the Senate and says, you know what? First our guns, then our opium. I don't want people to think we're weak. We got to have power in a different way. You know what I mean? So he looks, this is where he's ruthless too. And he basically says, Muna, you're going to marry this girl. You already gotten, friendly with her, right? You've already slept with her. Muna's like, if I had to marry every girl I slept with, what did he say? Something like, there'd be a long list.
You had a lot of daughters or something like that.
Yeah, you had a lot of daughters. He's hilarious. Muna's out of control. And he goes, nonetheless, if you marry her, we're one step closer to power. So he goes and he asks the prime minister, or not the prime minister, the
chief minister, right?
Minister for permission. And I think that he knew the chief minister had to say yes, because again, your daughter, who's a widow, has now been seen with this young guy. What are you going to say?
Not just that, but he had the cojones to say that they are very, they are very friendly with each other, or they're very familiar with each other. Like, he had the guts to say, your daughter slept with my son. Basically, so we better get him married before the story gets out there.
And then you even see how even the prime minister, like, bro, everybody has their own. Like, that's why I love this episode, dude. The crooks sometimes aren't the crooks, you know what I mean? Or sometimes the politicians and the law-abiding citizens are worse than the crooks, because the prime minister basically sells his own daughter out. Like, you know what? It's better to have a married a married widow, or a widow than an adultering one. Like, what? You know what I mean? Because technically she's widowed, right? So if she's running around with this guy, it's like and he does use that for his political career. Like, oh yes, even I'm saying it's okay, and I'm giving permission for my widowed daughter to go out and get married.
Media coverage,
bro. Media coverage. Oh, so more people are voting for him. Like, you use your daughter's situation for this. Is bananas.
Opportunity, Gabe. It's an opportunity.
Oh my gosh! Like, there is nothing sacred to these people. And who's worse? Is it the politicians or the gangsters? I would argue it's the politicians. In this show, it's the politicians, because look, the gangsters are going to do what the gangsters are going to do. You know what you're getting when you're dealing with them, but at least you know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with them. You're dealing with these politicians thinking that they're, holier than thou or whatnot, and these guys are just as crooked. Bro, don't forget, this dude sat there in his office while my pool choked somebody to death, and then said, okay, I'm going to give a cop.
Go clean that up.
Yeah, go clean that up and find a police officer to give a medal to. This guy's ruthless too. Oh my God.
The difference, like you said, is at least, the mobsters, they know they're bad. They're not trying to pretend that they're good. This guy's trying to pretend he's super holy and, thank you very much. And it'll be taken care of. You'll be absolved, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're right. This guy's crazy. And not just that, but so you get the election, right? It finally comes through and he wins by a landslide after the whole marriage thing. And Moon is not happy about it. We'll get to that in a little bit. But it's a landslide, and he's so happy. And KP Yadav comes in. Oh, good job. Thank you. Right away, he's going around, and he's giving. I'm not sure how they said it, but he's giving out the different powers to each person in his cabinet.
Cabinet members, yeah.
And but they called it something like KP Yadav said something like, or JP Yadav, whatever his name is. He said something like, "You gave my something to this person." He called it something. Anyways, but he's giving all these powers to Tripathi, to Colleen, and he's saying he's a member by everyone. He's a member by cabinet. Anyone have a problem with that? Okay, now you have these powers, and at the end, he gives him the opium fields, all this kind of stuff, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this guy, he has given Colleen all of these powers, all these rights that Colleen could never have dreamed of getting if he was still in her Yadav's thumb. So, good on him. It paid off, and he's just sitting there. And, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Inside, he's got the Mr. Burns evil smile going on. It was he played the chief minister like a fiddle, and he gave the chief minister what he wanted. And what did he say the last 3 episodes? It's all about the election. We're putting everything to the election. It's all about the election. He knew that's going to give him clairvoyance to whatever he can do for the rest of the way. So he was a boss in this episode. talking about Muna for a little bit. This guy, he annoys me. I know you love him. He just drives me crazy. I know that's the point of the character. But this guy drives me nuts. He has this girl that he had no problem. He had no problem, taking her to his bed, so to speak, because he wanted to get what he wanted to get. But he didn't want to take any responsibility for that. And then when he gets forced because he's such a wuss, tell his dad no, he forced to marry her. And then who does he take it out on? She's all happy. It's her wedding night. It's the honeymoon. I felt so bad for her. And he's like, what are you thinking? I don't want anything to do with you. This is only, by, profile and by people seeing us. I'm not going to be your husband. You're not going to be my wife. We are not going to be a happy couple.
Right.
And now let's go do what people do when they get married. I mean, this guy is just a complete joker. He's such a baby. He can't take a moment to save his life. I mean, even when it benefits him on his honeymoon, he can't wait 5 minutes to be that punk and just trash her because he can't trash his dad in front of his face.
Bro,
he drives me nuts.
I got a different opinion from you. First of all,
I like you love this guy.
He said if there's no emotion, then there's no physical, right? And she stood up for herself. So good on her, right?
Awesome. I love that.
I love that part. Empowered woman. I like that. But more to the point, at least he's a real one, okay? Because he listens, look, this wasn't my choice. This was because of my father. She even says, you do what your father says. And he kind of turned around on her. You do what your father says. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, she's like, Muna, you're 27 years old. You still do what your father says? You still do what your father says. Like, look, we're both controlled by our fathers. At least he's being candid. He could have been a real slime boy, like, oh yeah, this was my idea all the time, and I love you, and led her on those things. At least he was real. Like, listen, I think that at least you get honesty out of him, and it's one of those things where I could see who's worse in this situation. Kaleem, who married off his son to this girl that he knew his son did not like just for power and politics. Okay, or Muna, who was real and said, oh, you know what? I just got forced into this. Who's worse in this situation?
Listen, the older generation is going to love what I'm about to say. The younger generation is going to hate what I have to say. Colleen did what a father has to do. Muna's acting like a 13-year-old. I'm going to treat you like a 13-year-old. I told you not to mess around with her. I told you not to mess around with her. He messed around with her. You're not supposed to do that. Now you're great. You messed around with her. That's great. You must love her. Now you're getting married to her. How did that work out for you, Muna? I told you not to do, and you did the very next second because she came on to you. Muna has to be responsible for his actions. If it was anyone else, boom, they're gone, right? Muna has to be responsible. He put it upon himself. Gabe, let me ask you a question. You are a married man yourself. You're a husband for many, many years.
Right.
Your wife, let's say she puts on 20 pounds after Christmas, and she asks you the question, baby, do I look fat to you? Are you going to be completely honest and then be praised for being completely honest? Or are you going to be strategic and say, babe, you've never looked so good? Stop it. I'm going to use your line. Stop it. A double stop it on that one.
Bro,
come on.
Any dude on this show, any dude whose wife asks him, how do I look in this dress? Or have I put in so many? You don't even look, all right? It's instant. It should be a reaction. You know what I mean? You look fine. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't even have to look. It would be like fabulous, immaculate. Use any adjective you want. You look gorgeous. The one thing you don't want to say is a little bit. That's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly.
Oh man, I just feel the pain right now. What would happen?
I'm just giving you guys some advice. All right, don't even look. Don't even look, because you might look and pause and say the wrong thing. So you just want to be like,
no, it's a trap. It's Admiral Akbar from Star Wars. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah, it's a trap. Fabulous. You look fabulous. With that being said, I see your point, man. But again, I just think that this episode, you saw Chapati, and I guess he's a boss, right? That shows that he's using, but he has no, even later on, like he's comforting her. He could care less about her. All he cares about is the power that marriage got him. And to me, bro, that's like more of a scumbag move, but he's a boss. So I you know what? I can't even argue that, man. I can't even argue that. I think the last thing that really about this episode, we start talking about Dada and his two sons, right? So we got we've got the younger one, Junior, who met up with Golu and is working out this opium deal or whatnot. So he brings it to the table, and first and foremost, you know who's really, in my opinion, pissing me off this season? I'm sorry. Godu's pissing me off, and I'll tell you why.
Wait, who? Gudu or Golu?
No, Gudu. Gudu, not Golu. Gudu.
He's pissing you off?
Let me tell you why. He's talking back to Lala. If it wasn't for Lala, like, hear me out, he'd be dead. So he's like, look, I got a father at home. Don't tell me what to do. And I get it. Lala's trying to be protective of his daughter or whatnot. But bro, you're alive because of me. All right. Just saying. You came to me for help. Then, you know, Dada tries to get him to walk through that house or whatever. He stands outside like, okay, let's not do this. And he's like, excuse me, he said, I come to you as a partner, as equals. Don't, you know, let's not start off our relationship this way. Like, I just think like Godu is so full of himself, bro, and he's making these choices. Think about that one situation where even Gulu asked him, what were you thinking going by yourself? And what did he say? I wasn't thinking, right? I think that his anger is clouding his judgment, if that makes sense, right? Like, bro, there's no reason to make an enemy out of Lala or just count your money and be happy with the profits. What? Like, I see him making, listen to what I'm saying. I see him making the same mistakes, the same hot-headed mistakes that you see Muna making, where you're not realizing how your behavior is affecting those around you. Again, your father, you understand where Lala's coming from. Don't be around my daughter. She just lost her fiance or whatever. She's a vulnerable state. Respect that. And he's like, don't tell me what to do. I already got a father. You just be happy counting your profits. What? You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason the writers are doing this. I feel like they're setting him up to also take some kind of a fall this season, because if you notice, even him and Golu have had some tension there, because Golu's even saying like, look, you don't got your eyes on the prize with this girl or whatever, and he's kind of like snapped at her a few times. Don't you see that? Or is it just me?
Man, I got so much to say about that. First of all, hypocritical. You love Muna. You forget. It's like Muna's your own son, for crying out loud. He's a fictional character. You will excuse everything that Muna does, and you'll say, but Gudu's the one that's driving me crazy because he talked back to Law. Do you see Muna asking the guy that he imprisoned, after paying him more than he was supposed to get, paying him in the long run? You see Muna asking him to bring the kids over so he can play games and have fun with the kids because he likes kids. Are you kidding me? You think Muna's got time for 2 seconds to have what's-her-face go get some money and pay this guy and tell him, please bring the kids? I have said since season 1 that Gudu is making dumb mistakes. First, it was the steroids, the drugs that he was taking. Now it's his whole ego. His whole thing is, I'm going to be Colleen. I'm going to run Mirzapur. That's not what he should be thinking about right now. Right. Not whatsoever. He should be thinking about taking down this family and making Mirzapur a safer place. But he's not that guy. He's never been that guy. He hasn't been that guy since episode 1, for crying out of season 1. But you're going to crucify him for talking back to Lala. I was impressed in that scene because Lala comes full-handed and he says, it's non-negotiable. You stay away from my daughter. What Lala doesn't understand, what Golu doesn't understand, and Gudu's too prideful to admit it to both of them, is he already turned down Shubnam. He's already told her, it's not going to happen. I will never open up my heart to love ever again. Yeah. So I understand what you're doing. And he was so respectful. He could have been a Muna who marries a girl and then trashes her. And you're going to say Gudu's, I'm lost for words right here. But Gudu, he doesn't need to explain himself in his way of thinking, okay? In his way of thinking. Lala comes full force, you stay away from my daughter. When Lala, I'm sorry, are you not a drug dealer? Are you not a drug dealer? Are drug dealers, happy, nice people that are good for other people's daughters? I don't think so. And you're going to tell Gudu, who you needed to help you out, because don't forget, Lala was out on the river in a boat without a paddle. He had no help. So he needs Gudu as much as Gudu needs him. In the moment, Gudu needed him more, but now he needs Gudu because Gudu is helping protect him, and Colleen coming full force, because now we got to worry. We got this distraction of Gudu and Golu that we're not coming after Lala. And yes, Lala's got some resources, but you got to be kidding me with that one. And so I was impressed with Gudu to be able to say, we are on level ground right now. You need me and I need you. I already have a father. All he said from what I heard was, I have a father who tries to control me and it doesn't work out for us. I don't need another one. He's telling him, you're going to piss me off with that kind of stuff. You're going to drive me crazy with that kind of stuff.
That's exactly. And I just see that ego, like you said, same thing with Golu, same thing with Dada, right? Where he's like, I'm not walking through there. Like, how am I supposed to? He's like, well, the Golu say, just walk in. And he said, no. We're here. I treat my partners on equal footing or whatever. Like, I just think he's already thinking he's Colleen. And
he wants to be. In his mind, he wants to be. And in his mind, he's meeting Dada because in the future, he's going to use him because he's going to be the new Colleen. He's meeting Lala because in the future, he's going to use him because I can see Gudu 20 years from now. If they do one of those things in the episode 20 years later, I could see him just being a punk and being a jerk to everyone and using them and getting himself killed. I can see that. I can see him being a poor replacement for Colleen because Colleen at least has, this and he has the control and he can control his emotions. But Gudu, he's already thinking about that long game of when he takes over Mirzapur, he's not going to bow down for anyone. And I'm not saying I admire that. I'm not saying I'm going to teach that to my kids, but I do see the progression in his character a little bit and what happened when he refused to go into that thing? What happened? They met with him outside. We all knew Dada was doing that on purpose. Dada does that on purpose to subject these people. We saw what he did to one guy, but he fed him to the wolves or whatever because he wasn't happy with them. I think Dada's one of those guys who judges the person he's going to meet with. I want to see how much respect they give me, and I'm going to use it against them, and I'm going to take advantage of them. I think he won some brownie points with that whole thing.
Here's my thing. Where did we, and you already mentioned it, remember season 1 where Godu tells Colleen, I did what I did because you weren't there, and I don't think I need to ask permission for you when he killed Radhi Shankar. And he's making the same mistakes as season 1. It would have never gotten to the point of the red wedding that cost his brother his life if he had stayed in Colleen's good graces. But because of his continued, nobody tells me what to do, and I want to be the lions of Mirzapur and the king of Mirzapur. This appetite he has. Let's not forget that's really what got Babalu killed, because even Babalu used to tell him, hey bro, we need to slow down or whatever, but he just wants more and more and more power. I think he's power hungry or power thirsty. He's making those mistakes, you know what I'm saying? And then of course, things came to a head. I just would have hoped he would have gotten smarter than season 1 and keep making those mistakes. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's where they're setting the writing up to be.
The thing that I respect more about Gudu, and he drives me crazy too, but he's always been that way. The thing where I give him more respect is he is taking his destiny in his own hands. He is making things happen. He's going out there. He's doing the work. What is Muna doing? He's listening to whatever his dad says. He's having a horrible attitude about it. He's sitting there waiting for anyone to kiss his feet. And anyone does, he trashes them and belittles them. Hold on. He is not doing – what was the one thing he did this season for himself? He went over to Shankar's place to take over it for himself. But did he do it by himself? No. He had 100 guys with him, and he was counting on them to sacrifice their lives for him.
Right.
Guda's going into the lion's den by himself with Golu. He's going to Dada, trying to make a deal with these people. Him and Golu too. Golu's right there hand in hand with them. He is making things happen for himself. He's going to that place where that guy who's messing around with the women, and he's telling them, my name's Gudu Pandit. You need something, you get it from me. I'm going to help you out. What is Muna doing when he's sad and he's upset? He's playing video games. Dad, let me play my video game.
That was the funniest scene. Because he's like, look, somebody took all our real guns, so can I have fun with these fake ones? I'm like...
And he's whining about it. Does this guy not run his own arms dealership, for crying out loud? They took away our materials. We can't do anything about it. You're selling garbage bangers, for crying out loud. He's playing, and that was a great moment to season 1 where he was that spoiled brat playing video games. He's going back to that because he does not know. When he gets the directive from his dad at the very last episode of season 1 to take care of them, right? He does it by emotion. He does not plan it out. I'll bring like 6 of my guys. It's like Gabe made fun of me. Let me go get my 6 Hawaiian friends who are jacked, and we're going to go scare Gabe right now, and that's going to take... No, it's not. That's a Band-Aid. That's my frustration with Muna.
No. And I see your point. I was just thinking that okay, who's our hero?
Golu right now. She's the closest thing.
Because Guru is a flawed hero at best.
I never once called him a hero. Yep.
Flawed hero. So that's what I was kind of getting at. But you're absolutely right. And your criticisms.
But you excuse Muna way too much.
Your criticisms. I just like Muna. His acting is phenomenal too, bro.
I'm not talking about acting. Acting's fabulous.
His acting is phenomenal.
You just love the villains too much. I think it blinds you.
It does sometimes. I will admit it does. It does. So let's talk about the dad, right? Dada, right? So finally, you know, maybe it did earn him some respect with Godu, because he goes and meets them. They're sitting down on the couch and talking about business. And Godu tells him, yeah, we got opium. And Dada right away says, no, this is more what I'm talking about, Godu. So he's like, so wait a minute. Selling guns here is okay. Alcohol is okay. But drugs is where you draw the line. Like, you're calling out a Don in his own town. You know what I mean? Like, Godu has no filter. The guy got no fear. The guy got no fear. He's like 50 Cent. Like 50 Cent said, you know, he said, did getting shot make you rethink your rap? And he's like, it just made me worse now, because, you know, after you've been shot 9 times, it's like, you know, nothing's in your control. So I'm going to say what I want to say while I'm around. Like, that was his mentality. You know what I mean? And I just think that's Godu's mentality. He has no fear, no filter. Like, you're calling this dude out in his own town, and the dude's like, his son, the older one, is trying to. He's like, no. I'm gonna tell him. And he goes, we don't deal in drugs here, because both my mom and my dad. And I thought that was a very character building moment, and you got to understand.
It was awesome.
You know, he says they were addicted, and that's why I am dwarfed. Okay. And he was angry, and you can see the pain. And at least the guy has some kind of morals, even though he's a gangster, some kind of principles. And you love that about it. But now you understand why he's got that Napoleon complex or whatever. And it's not like it's something that he still addresses to this day.
It was multi-dimensional character building. And this is where the writers, they earn a lot of respect from me, like they have for these 2 seasons. I've only had a few issues. A lot of respect, because it was a quick 3 minutes, but it developed that character in ways that, you know, shooting a gun is not going to. And real quick, while we're on this vein of character building, the same thing with Robin. Someone had mentioned in one of the comments that this would be such a better series if we had less Robin and more Gouda and Golu. And I can't say I disagree with that, because the Robin character, he's like a quirky, weird guy who's like this creepy guy hitting on Dimpy. And I think not only is Dimpy, the actress is beautiful, but she's a really decent, innocent character. Like, leave her alone, for crying out loud. But even he got vulnerable, and he talked, and she's like, you always have a story about your mom. He's like, well, I've told 30 different stories about my mom, and none of them are even close to the truth, because the truth is just way worse. He talked about changing his name. You know, I thought Robin would make me seem more trustworthy. He got a little vulnerable, and I liked those moments in this episode. But let's go back to Dada, because those twins are very intriguing to me. I love the respect that Junior has for his older brother, who's only older by a few minutes, how I had to go through him, and then he has to go through my dad. I can't make a decision by myself, but I'll try my best to bring you over here, because I like Golu, and I'm hoping to get something going on with her. I like the whole thing. And of course, it's VJ, but it's not just the VJ effect. I like that whole situation, and I hope we get more of this family.
I think the last thing I want to touch on was Dimpy. And mom goes and visits her, right? And dad's outside. Dad won't even come in the room. And they have a conversation. And I think I'm so angry at dad, dude. And we've had this conversation at Dad Pandit. And I even remember writing it down where she says, tell him,
I want to be his daughter, not his witness.
I want to be his daughter, not his witness. And I'm like, gosh, don't this dude ever stop? She's like, look, I'm youngest one in the family, but I've already seen what's the end game here. I've already seen what we're up against, and I want no parts of it. And it's like, bro, you're willing to put your own daughter at risk? Like, I'm sorry, man.
He won't even go, and he sends the wife to hopefully, and she has a great job. She's like, I just need to know what happened to my son. I can't stop thinking about it. And once he finds out, the second he finds out that he's not getting it, he gets up and he goes off. But then we find out And I'm sorry I cut you off here. Go ahead. I cut you off there. Let me just say one point after that, but you're good.
I mean, I told you that I was upset at him because he still hasn't realized how ultimately, you know, I tell this to my kids right now. All right. I got teenage kids, one in college, one here at the house, Trey. And I tell them, listen, some decisions, you know, some mistakes you can't take back. Some mistakes last for a lifetime. And that's why you really got to be cautious with the way you move and the choices you make. You know what I mean? Some mistakes could define you, especially when you're a teenager for the rest of your life, you know? And I just feel like he didn't realize that this mistake he made trying to take on this crime family that he knew he had no business trying to take on, this is on him. This is on him. And instead of, you know, just folding and saying, you know, being repentant, bro, he's doubling down. Now you're trying to risk your daughter. I just don't get it, man. And it's so frustrated. Maybe he's just that altruistic that, or maybe this is how he copes with it. Because if he admits like, oh, I have lost, then it's got to be maybe even more heartbreaking. I lost my daughter-in-law, who was pregnant, by the way, and my son for no reason at all. I guess if you give up the fight, maybe that's where they're getting at. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that, Nick.
No, I think you answer your own question right there. This is how he copes with it. And also, if I give up now, then everything I've done, not just getting my son killed, but everything I've done before has been a waste. And I'm so close. I've got all these names on the list. I got one more name. That last name, he actually finds a guy who's willing to testify. And then there's someone else that already talked to him. I'll wait for your partner to get here. What do you mean my partner?
What do you mean my partner?
And then you see Super Cop come in. I'm like, oh, he's going to take out Pandit. But then we have this conversation where Super Cop's like, no, I've been biding my time. I saw what happened to my fellow officers. I'm not going to let that happen to me. I got a family to worry about. But I've been putting together the information, and I think we have a case. And then they take it to his boss, and his boss is like, guys, I love you. I appreciate what you're doing. You can keep doing what you're doing. I don't care. I'm not going to tell anyone. You're a great cop, but I have no parts of this. You know, I got the chief minister to worry about. I got things to worry about. It's basically like saying, I got to make sure Gotham stays safe. I can't help you out, Batman. And I like seeing, because before they go talk to his boss, I'm thinking to myself, I don't trust Super Cop. He's just lying to him. But you find out more about his character. He's not a sellout. He's just playing that end game, that long game. And I liked that a whole lot. But yeah, Pandit, he's going all out. And you hear about this. I luckily have never experienced the loss of a child. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, right? But you hear stories of those people that do experience the loss of a child, and they can't get over that grief so much that they inadvertently ignore their other children because they're just so sad and there's so much grief. And the other children are like, I'm right here. I just want you to be my mom, my dad. And that's kind of like what Dimpy's going through. Even though she's older, I love that line from her. I just want to be his daughter. I just want to be his daughter, not his witness. I don't want anything to do with this. I've already seen too many bad things in just a short amount of time. It was excellent. This review is super long. Guys, we hope you enjoy our thoughts here. Please let us know. I enjoy reviewing this with Gabe. He gave a lot of great thoughts, and it helped me think about a lot of things. I can't wait till episode 7. I can't wait to check it out. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to let us know what your thoughts are. And until next time,
we know all things.